Call the January 2nd, 2024 Town Council regular meeting to order. Clerk, will you do the roll call?
Yes, sure, I will. Mayor? Mayor Franco? Here. Councilor Bordelon?
I'm here.
Councilor Gajewski?
Present.
Councilor Jones?
Here.
Councilor McBride?
Councilor McBride said he will not be able to attend.
Councilor Merritt?
Here.
Councilor Parker?
I believe Councilor Parker may be arriving late.
Usually gets here a little late. And Councilor Pacino?
Present.
And Councilor Rusk?
Here.
Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 members present.
All right.
8 members present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 members present, 2 absent, but we expect Councilor Parker to join us shortly.
Thank you. We will do salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is recognition awards and memorials. I don't believe we have any this evening. No public hearings. And receipt of citizens petition, comments and concerns. This is the portion of the council meeting, council agenda where the council welcomes comments from the public. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or is directed by the mayor. And if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Town councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify their speaker's presentation. All presentations shall be made from the lectern and should include the speaker's name and address for the record. Can we start with online?
I do not have her online yet.
Okay, so we can, all right, we'll start here. Lee Williams.
Good evening. My name is Lee Williams, and I live at 19 Ocean View Avenue, and I'm here representing a group of neighbors from the streets that surround S.B. Butler Elementary School. I'm a newcomer to the neighborhood. My spouse and I moved into our home a year ago. Since then, we've been consistently impressed with our neighborhood. People have been warm and welcoming to us and to our dog, mostly the dog. I work from home and I walk our dog a couple times a day, often through the S.B. Butler property. At first, I was sad that a school had closed because I know how that can impact a neighborhood. But I've come to appreciate how the open space around the school continues to be the center of the neighborhood, and I believe that such spaces are crucial to the quality of life that Mystic claims for its residents as well as its visitors. Anyone familiar with town planning knows that safe, open common spaces are critical to the development of a sense of community. I don't think it's an accident that in the years since it closed, S.B. Butler has not been targeted by vandals or graffiti artists, and I think it's because people in the neighborhood pay attention to and use this space. I am not at all opposed to housing being built on this property. It's easy to imagine 8 or 10 or even a dozen houses similar in size to the other houses in our neighborhood being built and purchased by families looking for a great neighborhood to raise children, or older home buyers looking to downsize but still wanting a single family home and a small yard to enjoy and care for. But we know that developers and others are already eyeing this property with plans to squeeze every ounce of value out of it. And we know some residents, not in our neighborhood but elsewhere, tout the value of adding some sort of development, apartments, townhomes, or dozens of single-family homes to the grand list. We are interested in hearing ideas for the property, but that brings me to my final point. Since moving here to Mystic, I've been struck by the lack of confidence that my neighbors seem to have in the transparency of their governing officials, transparency that would guarantee that there are no backroom deals or shady arrangements that residents only learn about after they've been made. I don't know all the history. I do know something about the future, though, because I know what brought me to Ocean View Avenue and makes me want to be an active part of our community. I hope that what makes our neighborhood so special is what you all and the TOPE Committee keep in mind as you consider options for this important property. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Ellen Furlong.
Good evening. My name is Mary Ellen Furlong, and I live at 57 Fishtown Lane in Noank, Mystic, Groton. I watched December 5th Town Council meeting and noted the confusion on the faces of some of the councilors when they found their seats. Musical chairs had struck again without any warning. But the much bigger problem is that the two highest vote getters on the council in the recent town election, Bordelon and McBride, were not assigned to any of the three standing committees. These committees are where the majority of the council's work is done. The Rules Committee governs the town council. Among many other matters, the committee controls how often and for how long councilors and members of the public can speak, as well as how councilors can make referrals. The Personnel and Appointments Committee controls the reappointment and the vetting of proposed members of Planning and Zoning and the Inland Wetlands Agency. The Public Safety Committee oversees traffic control, bike lanes, and many other areas of town safety issues. Additionally, there are other committees, such as TOPE, that advise the council on the disposal of town property and other important areas. There are 3 positions on each of the standing committees, a total of 9 seats. There should be 1 seat for every councilor. For the 2 highest vote getters to be shut out of these committees effectively de-enfranchises the large number of town residents who voted for Bordelon and McBride. This is not how democracy should work. I don't see much of the sharing or togetherness that the mayor spoke of after her selection by the council. And I would just like to add that I wonder if the town manager can enlighten us as to how many lawsuits there are against the town. Thank you.
That's all. Is there anybody else online? Mr. Burt? Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Ian Thomas, 24 Jefferson Drive. For full disclosure, I am a member of the Board of Education and also a spouse of Councilor Bordelon. However, I'm just speaking as a concerned citizen tonight. And I wasn't planning to speak tonight, but Ms. Furlong just raised a point of concern. In regards to the committee assignments, I know that, when I was on the RTM last term and the term before that, the RTM actually has a rule that requires every member of the RTM to be assigned to at least 1 committee. And I would suggest that this town council maybe consider adding that rule into their own body's operation. And perhaps the temporary Rules and Procedures Committee could take that up. It seems only equitable and fair. Again, trying to build in a positive way off of the mayor's comments on the December 5th. You know, in order to be inclusive, to work together, to build consensus, it would be, to me, seems pretty obvious that you would want to be equitable in the way that you assign committees. And I can tell you that, while it's not a rule in the Board of Ed, I can tell you that we did get assigned equitably around, and we were consulted on the committees that we wanted to serve on, and there was some interchange between myself and the chair. So I would just urge this council to consider deeply how it moves forward. You still have time to correct it. I believe past practice, the Temporary Rules and Procedures Committee is not always the same people that get assigned to the permanent Rules and Procedures Committee. So there's an opportunity to rectify the situation, perhaps by putting Bordelon and McBride on the permanent Rules and Procedures Committee when that time comes. In other news, there are two important Planning and Zoning Commission meetings coming up. One for the town next week, January 9th, at 7 p.m. here at the Town Hall Annex. Among many other things they will be considering, I know that they are looking to finalize the regulations on short-term rentals, an area of great concern for many people that came out over the past couple years to many of the town council meetings. So I'd urge people to look into that and make a note on the calendar, January 9th, 7 p.m. here at the Town Hall Annex, Town Planning and Zoning. And another meeting in the City Planning and Zoning Commission is having a meeting at 7 p.m. on January 17th. And it's going to be a continued hearing on the proposed amendment to the zoning regulations that would possibly allow for 6-story buildings in a certain area on Thames Street and Bridge Street. So I would urge any concerned residents of the city or the town who frequent the city to look that up and plan on attending and speaking their mind as they see fit. Other than that, I wish you all the best, and I hope that everyone can move forward in a positive, constructive, collaborative light. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
This is for general.
Yes?
Hello, my name is Kathleen Hall-Terry, and I live at 39 Lamont Road in Groton. I'm here as a concerned citizen about 2 items, and maybe a third after I've been listening tonight. The first one is about leaves and property owners and their responsibility for them. If you buy a home and you decide to rent out to other people, whether or not you have it in their lease that they're responsible for cleaning up the leaves or whatever, you own the property, and the rest of the residents that are in a community, inevitably when the wind blows, it blows back into their yard. I have it coming into my yard on a continual basis. I'm at like 7 times cleaning my front yard, and I have 2 brand new knees, so I don't know what we can do on the books to make sure that, because you don't want them in the streets, you want them clogging up the new drainways that you've put on Lamont Road, where the street sweeper goes through, but that's where inevitably they go. And we've got 2 properties, one on the corner, a white house that is there 6 months out of the year, and another one that's rented out, and they will mow, but when it comes to the leaves, and their huge oak leaves just end up everywhere.
And I have quite a few property owners on the street that wanted to be here tonight, but I can make them be here at another meeting if it's necessary. I called and talked with the town manager, and he told me to come talk about it. But I also heard that blight was going to be brought up, and blight, I guess, is already down on your docket. As a taxpayer, and taxes have gone up quite a bit, it would be nice when you pull off of 117 and you're going up Fort Hill, when you see, you know, Groton, explore more. You see those beautiful hydrangeas that were planted, to not have to look around. And I have a lot of friends who own homes in PQ, but I don't want to see everyone's stuff. We all have stuff, you know what I mean? But when it comes to wintertime, it's a mess. And if you want to represent this town well, I'm just thinking, we've put in solar lights down there on the track. How about a little picket fencing going through there? Spray it to where it lasts a little longer, but something that disguises any of the stuff that other people have that they're entitled to have, okay? But I mean, it would be nice to pretty things up and represent this town a little bit better. And it goes from, I'd say, Dairy Queen to the track. That whole area needs to be reevaluated by people, and what we're showing people that get off the highway and are intending to go up Route 1 or go the other way, what Groton's all about. Because that's the areas that get most traveled. You go down Hamburger Hill, where all the businesses are, and you've got all the businesses. But when it starts to come to the residential property, I mean, it's a nice, beautiful park and everything, but we need to represent it better. And it's not going to cost a lot of money to just straighten things out. So those are my two big concerns. And I'd like a little feedback. I'll be in contact with the town manager if there's any other times that this is going to get brought up, because I'd like to be a part of it, and I would like to bring my neighbors to it. So thank you for your attention, and have a good night.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Hi, Andrew Perella, 7 Tornberg Lane in Groton. I just wanted to quickly address the council on some of the concerns that were put through at the first meeting that you had, and I'd just like to do a follow-up on that. We have been in contact with some of the residents up on the Long Hill area. They are a little disappointed. They don't really know what to do at this point, because it had passed through the planning and zoning. I did address the planning and zoning on some ideas for the town, a possible land swap with that developer, but I think they've already blasted, and they're going to probably start beginning to install tanks there. I wanted to compliment the staff on some of the follow-up they did. Some of the information was a little bit inaccurate, which to me just meant there was a little communication gap between some departmental parts of the town. So I think that needs to be worked on a little bit. And I encourage the councilors and the RTM and the Planning and Zoning Commission to please try to work on this. That is business zoned or commercially zoned. There is a possible movement to try to change that area to a mixed residential new zoning, which would take time to do that, to protect the residential area on the eastern side of Long Hill Road, because once we lose that, of course, we lose the green breaks, we lose the parklet possibilities. And I missed that because I just came from work, but it sounded like you were on the same page, the woman before me, on some of that with different parts of the business district. And I know the town is trying to work hard on developing a productive and also balanced, is a key word, so we can have, as I quoted in the paper, a little bit of a collective moral ethic on some of these decisions that just aren't made strictly by laws. You must follow the law, but go beyond the law to protect, for future generations. So we have a town that's a little more balanced, that can be beautiful, as some of the people on other commissions are doing, like the Beautification Committee. But we are limited in what we can do when zoning gets involved, and then you have to follow certain laws. So those are some of the things I'd like to just have some follow-up on. I don't know if it's appropriate that they would be going to a committee on this. The residents are very frustrated, and I think that there can be solutions to this. And one of them, quickly, because I don't know my time limit right here, is to possibly encourage, since the vendor is there and they're already building and we want to encourage business. I don't agree with that spot at all. However, I think that what we would want to encourage is a buffer. We did this when I was on the city council with Pfizer. and they did a buffer zone where they planted several hundred trees on the east side of Eastern Point Road. I would like to have some type of, I don't know what your committees are going to be, and we can also do it on the RTM working jointly, is to encourage with the planning and zoning some type of buffer with trees along those areas that are right on top. One house, I think, is like maybe 20 feet, and he's a handicapped person. So this is a serious concern. But I'd like to encourage that, and I'm willing to work with anybody that wants to help on that. So, you know, that the town manager probably has to take a few Advils after some of these meetings, but I know you're all, you know, have a lot of work you have to do, and I appreciate the time that you're putting in, because you are volunteers, and that's not always fun when you want to be doing something else, but we care about the town, and that's why we're here to change things. So thank you for listening. I hope it wasn't too long.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Okay. Moving on to the consent calendar. Councilor Parker, would you like to pass the consent calendar?
I actually wasn't ready for that part. Make a motion to accept the minutes of December 5th, 2023, and the special trust fund contributions for December. I so move.
Second, Bordelon?
Are there any comments? No?
I have a comment.
Council Bordelon?
Yes, I just wanted to say that these minutes actually, I'm pretty impressed by the receipt citizens petitions comments. I think they were very thorough this time and very much articulated the comments of the citizens. Sometimes in the past, they're shortened, so I just want to compliment where compliment is due, that it was nicely written. And as well as the minutes, I'm not sure if there was a change, but definitely noticed some quality details in there, so thank you.
Thanks. All right. No further questions. We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That will pass 8 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. And Councilor Parker is now here. Moving on to communications and reports. Town councilors, I will start with Councilor Merritt. Do you have anything to report?
I have some remarks from citizens in regards to parking on the grass at the small walkway park on Depot Road. This is due to the flooding at Bluff Point. And I went down there one day and I counted 11 cars in the parking spots on the pavement and 11 cars parked all the way out to the second park bench in the park itself. I understand that the bump track that's going to be put in should have a walkway to it, because a lot of people use that grass area down there for picnics, etc. And I know this is going to involve the state and maybe Amtrak, but I'd like to see the town temporarily put up Jersey barriers around the parking area to keep the people from driving onto the grass and parking there. It's wet, it's damp. I don't particularly foresee it freezing at any point in time, and it's just going to get all tore up. There's no need for them to be parking there. They can park on Industrial Drive, or they can go somewhere else, but not on our park grass. We have enough trouble with Quantic Plains Park. And there's a signage directing people to Bluff Point. I understand there is a past remark made about signage at certain intersections along Route 1, Depot Road, and Route 117. I don't know what that's all about, but we have a park down there, a state park, however. Maybe the state could be asked to put some signage up. directing people down there. That came from a Sidney Van Zant from Noank to me. And one citizen on Depot Road and another one in Fort Hill Homes asked to straighten out Depot Road from the town hall down past the school. The sidewalk is kind of broken out, and it's like it's decreasing the parking for the residents on the upper end of Depot Road. I don't know why that it was ever developed that way. One side is straight, and on the other side, it just meanders. And the water shut off on Central Avenue when the city did redid the piping in that area. Now, the shut-off pipe sticks out of the ground a good 6 to 8 inches. It leans at an angle. Our Public Works and Parks Department are going to have trouble mowing around it. If somebody strikes that, they have to dig the whole area up to replace the valve down at least 4 to 6 feet down in the ground.
Thank you.
And
Counselor Merritt, your time has expired.
I think that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Counselor Bordelon?
I'll pass for now if you can come back to me. Thank you.
Counselor Pacino?
I do not have anything to pass.
Counselor Rusk?
No report.
Jones?
No
Counselor
report.
Jones? Counselor Gajewski?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This past couple weeks, I volunteered at Groton Human Services with Councilor Rusk, distributing holiday meals to those in need in our community, and then also volunteered with Councilor Rusk, Jones, and Parker at the United Way Mobile Food Pantry in Groton City. And then along with Councilors Rusk, Franco, Jones, Parker, I attended the Admiral's Holiday Party at the the Nautilus Museum. And then along with those same counselors, plus Councilor Pacino, I attended the Coast Guard Band Holiday Concert. And then just a reminder that this Thursday at St. Mark's Church in downtown Mystic, there will be a sustainability, climate resiliency community forum with our with town staff. Doors open at 5 and the presentation begins at 5:30. That's it.
Thank you. Counselor Parker?
Council Gajewski stated everything for me. Thank you.
Counselor Bordelon, would you like to?
Thank you, sorry. I did have some communications with residents on the Mystic side of Groton, or the Groton side of Mystic, however way you want to word that, regarding the flooding. Folks reached out to me with concerns, complaining that some of the drains down there were clogging and haven't properly been cleaned, possibly probably need some assessments in that area. Also, folks reached out to me with concerns about alerts in flood zones. No signage or barriers went on town roads before major storms, and so that's something I was going to send a message to the town manager, that we know these areas flood, so maybe we could be more proactive in putting the signage up before it happens, now that we know. I did receive a concern from Paquonic Bridge regarding the park there, saying that, you know, it needs some revitalization. Let's see. I attended the Fitch High School holiday concert for, you know, band, jazz and strings and the choir. Wonderful job by all the students, and it's important to support our arts. I received concerns regarding SP Butler School on a continuous basis, expressing the need for proper and transparent communication regarding the property in the SP Butler neighborhood and property located there, as well as concerns on the upcoming short-term rental zoning meeting, some for and some against. And again, I urge people to attend, since, you know, whatever side you're on, as well as concerns from the city side of Groton regarding not the developer or the idea, but the visual of the buildings that are being proposed. I did correspond with the town manager regarding citizens that are elected officials not being able to speak at the RTM meetings, which we've been in communication about. He's been speaking to the attorney. I did reach out to the mayor And we had a phone conversation, and one of my initial things after the election was to state that I've never been put on a standing committee since I've been reelected several times up here, and I stated I was hoping to at least get on one. I did have a correspondence with her. I have not gotten a response back from that yet. Also, I have not received a response back from the town manager regarding the missing open agenda items, one being former Councilor State Rep Baumgartner's request that was missing, which is also noted in the notes here. Just curious as to what the plan is, if we can go back and find missing, or how they even fell off, perhaps. Again, as a counselor, I'm hoping to be appointed to a standing committee. As a returning member, I'm hoping for openness and inclusion, and there have been counselors up here. As it was stated, there's 9 seats, yet some counselors were
Thank you.
appointed duly to 2 committees
Thank you.
before
Your time is
overlooking
up.
myself and Counselor McBride. Thank you.
Thank you. I attended the December 13th swearing-in ceremony of the 34th Representative Town meeting. I wish them well, and I thank them for their service that they will provide for our community. The Town Council was invited to the December 14th Annual Winter Holiday Social at the Nautilus Museum by Captain Ken Curtin and Captain Drew Miller. And as was noted, in attendance were Councilors Parker, Gajewski, Rusk, Jones, and myself representing the council. The Town Council was also invited to the December 17th U.S. Coast Guard Academy's holiday-themed band concert at Leamy Hall by Assistant Superintendent Eva Van Camp. She is new to her position. And in attendance representing the council were Councilors Pacino, Gajewski, Jones, Parker, Rusk, and myself. As a reminder to our community, the town of Groton has property tax and rent relief for qualifying elderly, disabled, and veterans. And for further information, you should contact the town's assessor's office. This coming January 4th, the town will conduct a Mystic Resiliency presentation, as mentioned, from 5 to 6:30 at St. Mark's Church, located at 15 Pearl Street in Mystic. Also, January 9th, the Planning and Zoning Commission will be holding a public hearing on short-term rentals at 7 p.m. at the town annex right here on Groton Long Point Road. I'd also like to mention that Thrive 55 has a lot of events coming up, and people should probably check out their Facebook page because they have on January 25th a Blizzard Bash, which is a wellness event from 5 to 7:30. They're having the Super Bowl. Well, it's Super Bowl. February 10th from 5 to 7, and that's always a good event if you would like to come out and taste some finely made soups. And I just wanted to mention that a little piece of Groton history that I heard this week that I wanted to notate. I had read it in the day paper, and I was pretty amazed by it. It was an article called News of Christmas Past. So I just want to read this very quickly. That in 1905, James Buddington, a retired whaling captain from Pequannock, Groton, recalled a Christmas a half-century earlier when his ship, the George Henry, dropped anchor off Fort Trumbull after a notable trip to the Arctic. He had discovered the British Navy vessel HMS Resolute, abandoned in the ice, and brought it home. The Resolute had been sent in search of Sir John Franklin in one of the many expeditions that failed to learn the Arctic explorer's fate. When the ship became encased in ice in 1854, it was abandoned and drifted until Buddington, from Pequannock, Groton, found it more than a year later. We resolved to rescue her, if possible, Buddington said, and from New London, the ship was returned to Britain. And when it was broken up years later, a desk made from its timbers was presented to President Rutherford Hayes. Today, the Resolute desk is in the Oval Office at the White House. So we have a small little connection, and I thought that was sort of interesting. All right, so next is Clerk of the Council.
Good evening, town councilors and mayor and town manager. I have just a small report. We are in need of residents to volunteer to our many boards and commissions. The 33rd council created a new commission for performing arts that was, it was at a request of quite a few citizens. And so far, I've not received a single application, and I've tried to advertise it. And I will, hopefully it'll be advertised more, but there's a few other boards and commissions, maybe just one member or an alternate member, but they're all very important because we run our town on volunteers, as you know, yourself included. And none of these boards or commissions or members are paid, but we are all very grateful for the service. So if anyone's interested, there is a list on the town website. They can also contact the town clerk's office and would be more than glad to email or mail information to interested parties. And, you know, this is my last town council meeting, and I appreciate all your hard work in working with my office. And I will be available for questions from my staff ongoing. So whoever you appoint will have access to my knowledge. That's it for my report for the council. On to RTM. For the RTM, oops, sorry.
I was going to say clerk of the representative town meeting.
There we go. There we go. So the RTM temporary rules committee is meeting tomorrow. That's January 3rd in the town hall annex in community room 2. And they have 4 items that they'll be reviewing, and they're to give a recommendation to the full RTM on the January 10th meeting. That meeting will be held at the Thrive 55 Living Center, formerly known as the Senior Center. And that meeting begins at 7 p.m. There are vacancies on the RTM still. We have District 1, District 4, we have 3 vacancies. We have 1 Democrat in District 1, 1 Democrat in District 6, and 3 anybody but a Democrat in District 4. That makes sense to you? I'm glad. I'll explain that we have minority representation on RTM, Representative Town Meeting, and Board of Ed, which means that it cannot be, all seats cannot be held by one political party. There has to be a distribution. That's the idea is there, and we hope for the best. We can get 5 more people to volunteer from those districts. So that again is District 1, District 6, and District 4. So if anybody out there is interested, give my office a call and we'll direct you to how to apply. That's all I have for you. Is there anything that I can answer for you?
I one quick question.
Councilor Rusk.
First of all, thank you, Town Clerk. I really appreciate working with you for the past few years. So thank you for your service to the town of Groton. Regarding the RTM seats, is there a list anywhere that says who can apply for each seat? So you
on the town website, there's a publication called the Town Register, and also within that document is the listing of the RTM with the vacancies. That list should also be in a separate document under the town government. I'll verify that tomorrow and make sure that is correctly updated. If it's not updated already, it should have been, but it may not have been. So I'll sometimes things get pushed into one little corner of the internet, and I don't know how that happens, but we've got a great department at the town hall, so we'll make sure that everything's updated.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? I'd also like to thank you for your service and all the years you've given to the town in your position, and thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And next is, go ahead, Councilor Bordelon.
I just also want to thank you for your service as town clerk. Wish you well on your next adventure. I'm sure you won't stray too far from local government in some fashion, and enjoy your time. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, Town Manager.
Good evening, and I too would also like to thank the town clerk. I believe this week makes 14 years she's been with the town, so she's been here quite a long time. We're in getting into the budget season, so the town staff's already working on department budgets, CIPs, that type of thing, so we're getting close to the larger process. Comes up quick. Let's see, next week, the Groton Long Point Road Bridge over Amtrak rail item will be back on the agenda. I sent out some information to the council late last week on some follow-up information, and then I received a little bit more information since then. I had some questions on it, so I need to get some clarification from the DOT, and then I'll forward that to you. But I'm trying to get it to you as early as possible, so you have time to review everything. Let's see. And then I was asked last time about when would the Human Services Director be attending a meeting. It's planned for, unless it gets bumped for some reason, February 13th is the intended date for the meeting. Did I just say December? Did I say December? Or sorry, February? We're into a new year. February 13th is what the planned date is. DOT also reached out to Greg Hanover and I on some work they'll be doing on bridges on I-95 over Route 12, fixing some structural deficiencies. Not that it's a replacement, but it's fixing some things. Early stages still. Both bridges were built in 1964. They went over how they'll be controlling traffic and ensuring that things still flow smoothly through there. So we asked for some things that they said they would include. As of last I heard, though, the construction wouldn't start early, likely 26, so we have a while till that will happen. Knowing cell tower, if you remember, there was going to be a cell tower put in Knowink, which caused some consternation. We, the planning, I think it was a planning and zoning commissioner, reached out to me to ask if there's anywhere we might be able to house it. We looked at the police department, which we actually have a need for a new tower there, so we've been in negotiations trying to figure out for them to locate there, and we have to take into account the cost a lot to invest in that tower, but which will benefit us greatly, and they'll also take over maintenance. But we're closing in on the final stages of that, so I hope to have something to the council soon, because I do know they're hoping to relatively soon put that tower in place. We had the visit from the CALEA Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. Representative came to do the report on the department. That went very well. Read the preliminary report. It was excellent. There's actually, next step is in the next couple of months. I think it's in March. They have to go out of state to a conference and present, almost have like an oral defense of your department. So that'll be upcoming. So hopefully in the next few months we'll be certified. Let's see, and that is all I have for tonight.
Thanks.
Oh, and then Councilor Merritt, I didn't get everything you said, but I'll rewatch and I'll look at what your comments were to see what things I might be able to help with from your comments earlier about like the Jersey Bears, that type of thing. I'll rewatch and take a look at that. I missed some of the notes on that.
I'm assuming it'll be only a temporary thing, and the bridge way is being worked on it. It's not our property, so I'm not really going to remark on that.
Councilor Bordon?
Oh, I'm just looking down. Would you call him Roscoe?
I thought you put your hand up
No, I
to
was-
nothing for the town manager.
I might have a comment. Does someone else want to go before me, though? I wasn't quite ready.
I just have one more
He
question
wasn't
for
done, that's
John
why I was
while we're here.
concerned. Roscoe wants to go.
Go ahead,
Just
Councilor
one
Merritt.
more. Oh. No, we'll pass on that for now. Yep.
If you want to later, just reach out to me.
Well, yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Anybody else? Councilor Borderline.
I guess just to reiterate the missing items from the open agenda items, we had asked at the many meetings, did you have any update on where Baumgartner's referral went?
Well, it's on there. I can't say on that one specifically. I can say the former mayor had asked for some of the older ones to be removed, and I don't know if that was one of them or if that got caught up in that. But I asked Lisa to look through all the old stuff to make sure everything's on there.
Okay, thank you. And any update from the attorneys regarding I guess some people are calling it a fake lawsuit because it wasn't written right, but the lawsuit that we're naming all the other counselors, is there a new update coming out or anything like that that's going to be passed along, or anything you've heard yet?
There's been nothing so far, no type of rulings or anything. I believe they'd asked for an extension. I don't know if they ended up, for the first one, for the first data center one, I believe they had filed something to try to dismiss, but I have to double check that. But there's been no kind of rulings or any other action.
No action.
I'll follow up on it.
Anything, some people have reached out about Noank, where the boulders were and the land that's supposedly the town's. Any updates on that?
No, our attorneys have reached out to, now, we do think it's where it's technically supposed to be at right now. The question is, do we want to try to make any other deal? So I don't want to speak further in public on it, but.
No, it'd be great just to have some form of update. We haven't had one in quite some time, actually. Or just some type of update of when some update is coming would be helpful. And then the other data center lawsuit, is there any new information that we should be aware of, or any new updates of dates of when we're going to be discussing this coming up?
No, the insurance company's assigned attorneys, which is the same one as on the first lawsuit. They had to file for an extension to read everything, get up to speed on everything, since they weren't intimately involved. So they did an initial read. They thought our positioning was very good, but that's it for now.
And then the solar trash cans, compactors, any updates on that information?
Not since, I don't think they're ordered, for the further ones, the first 3 were installed, of course, in downtown Mystic. I haven't heard of any others coming. It took several months after we ordered to get those before, so it's not going to be until the spring at least.
When do we plan to have the manager's budget roughly, just for my notes?
It has to be in, I think it's March 15th, or I have to get the presentation by, no, it has to be in by then. Usually it's about a week or 2 into March, because I'm trying, the Board of Ed budget and the city budget and GLP are not due much prior to that, so there's some last minute rushing once we get the rest of it, so it's always pretty close to that.
Okay. Is there any way that as the department heads' budgets come in with their requests, obviously their requests are not always what you approve. Is there any way that you can just start sending them on? Because it's great to be able to review those ahead of time. It does cut down on the time if possible. I mean, so the department head might say, I'm requesting this, and it will be in the final town manager's report, but it would be good to start to see those.
Until right about when I'm putting it together, I don't always know what I'm cutting though. I have to see the big picture. So I don't really have much lead time on that.
I'm not looking for the cut, I'm looking for what they're asking, is more, just to kind of see.
Yeah, we put that in the report. So you just want to know the number up front?
Correct, yeah, so if I was a department head and I was requesting a $65,000 increase, it wouldn't be what you're going to do, it would just be what the department head is requesting. And it's just a way, some towns actually put them up online as they start to come in. So obviously it wouldn't be your final number, but it would just be a way that we can start to look at the budget a little earlier.
I'm leery to go away from the charter on the process. I give it some thought, but I've not
That's
seen
fine.
any other
It's just-
municipality do that.
Yeah,
so.
that was just an ask. And I think that is all I have. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, we have no department heads here tonight, do we?
No.
Okay, so next is committee reports. Committee of the whole, the mayor. I have a few things. Tonight, I would like to notate that Mr. Burt will be on the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments. And for the Town Council, RTM Board of Ed Liaison Committee, Councilor Rusk and Councilor Parker will be put on that one. I would also like to notate that we are still looking to put somebody on the Golf Advisory Committee. The Performing Arts Commission, as was noted earlier here, that is a new committee, and we need a counselor to chair it to get it up and going. We also need 2 more people for the Town Council, RTM Board of Ed Liaison Committee. And we also, I have, as I requested counselors' interest in what committees they wanted to be on, there are some that have to come to the council for a vote of us to put somebody on these committees, but there is still openings for counselors on the Athletic Fields Task Force as liaison, the Long Island Sound Advisory, and the Southeastern Connecticut Water Authority Representative Advisory Board. So if anybody's interested in those, please reach out and let me know. On January 6th, we will be having a town council meeting. This will be a goals workshop. It'll be a cow meeting at 6:30.
Point 6th or 16th?
It'll be, it's the January 16th, is that correct?
Yeah, I heard 6, sorry.
Sorry, did I say 6? I apologize, 16th. It is the 16th, 1/6, for the goals workshop, where we can discuss open agenda items that are on the list in our packet, as well as what other counselors would like to bring forward, and so we can pick out our priorities and have a path forward and with some potential goals. And also, I would like to notate that since we have had the time clock, the mayor position has, besides running the meeting and keeping organized and track of things up here, the town mayor had been in charge of taking care of the clock, which when anybody started talking or stopping, they would start the clock, stop the clock, and so on. Well, I would like to announce that Town Councilor Gajewski will now be the keeper of the clock. He'll be the keeper of our time, and he'll be doing the time going forward. That's all I have to report today, and we're moving on to personnel. Yes,
On standing committees, is there any vacancies?
not at this time.
Okay. And the goals meeting is, who's running that?
It'll be a cow meeting.
Oh, Cal meeting, okay. And,
Mostly taking notes, but yes.
Special council.
so it's a special
Yes,
Cal meeting?
It's a special, yes.
I think that was my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Rusk?
What time is that meeting on the 16th, please, again?
It'll be 6:30.
Thank you.
All right, personnel and appointments, Chair Jones.
No meeting, no report.
Rules, Chair Parker, temporary rules.
No meeting, no report, but it has been scheduled,
Okay, thank you.
or tentatively scheduled. Let me rephrase that.
Okay, and public safety, Chair Rusk.
No meeting, no report.
Okay, on to new business. We had the Veterans and War Memorial Committee presentation, and we have Mr. Streeter here to give a presentation to us.
Madam Mayor and councilors and town manager, my name is James L. Streeter. I live at 54 Pleasant Street in Groton. First, I would like to thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak with you tonight about this subject. I would like to thank the council for recommending, pursuing, and hopefully approving or appointing a permanent Town of Groton Veterans and War Memorial Committee. By way of information, I would like to start by respectfully clarifying the information relating to the Ad Hoc War Memorial Committee of 1981, wherein there is an inference that there has been no additional improvements made to the town's War and Veterans Memorial Park since that committee disbanded in 1984. In December of 1981, the ad hoc committee was organized to establish our town's War and Veterans Park. And I say this with emphasis, subsequently received funding of $43,000 from the town to build the park, which prominently displayed 3 special 8-foot by 4-foot by 1-foot engraved panels. One panel is inscribed with the words, "The citizens of Groton, Connecticut have not forgotten the courage, valor, and sacrifices of their veterans of all wars." The second panel is inscribed World War I and World War II. And the third panel is inscribed Korea and Vietnam. The park was officially dedicated in May of 1984, and the ad hoc committee was subsequently disbanded shortly thereafter. This is where I'd like to clarify that although the ad hoc committee was disbanded, there have been several upgrades and improvements made to the park since 1984. In April of 1997, the town council authorized the expenditure of $10,000 to install a new fourth engraved panel with the names of the 67 servicemen from Groton who had lost their lives in all the wars. In late 2011, a recommendation was made to add a fifth granite panel, recognizing the veterans from Groton who had served and who were returning from the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan wars and conflicts. Unfortunately, at the time, no funding was available from the town to support this initiative. However, in 2013, the council established an ad hoc committee to raise funds to purchase the new panel and to make other improvements to the park. By 2014, the Special Ad Hoc Veterans Committee had raised in excess of $25,000 from local citizens, organizations, and businesses. Subsequently, the fifth granite panel inscribed with the words Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan was installed. At the same time, 5 new flagpoles, one for each branch of the military services, and an engraved Veterans Paver Plaza were installed. An endowment was also provided to the town to purchase replacements for the military service flags. All of this funding without funding from the town. The reason why I mentioned the history of the park is to suggest to the council that they also agree to provide appropriate funding to support any upkeep, improvements, and/or programs for the park that they approved that were recommended by the Veterans Committee. Now, after saying all of that, at the request of Mayor Franco, I was asked to seek out the names of 5 Groton residents who would like to volunteer to serve on the newly established Groton Veterans and War Committee. In conducting my search, I took it upon myself to ensure that each branch of the military service would be represented on the committee. You will note when I provide the information that each of the individuals I will recommend are military veterans and have continued to serve our community after their military service. Thus, I would like to submit and highly recommend the following individuals to serve on the committee. 1, George Highland of 6 Bradford Circle, Groton. United States Navy retired, served from 1961 to 1980. Achieved the rank of Chief Petty Officer E7 as a storeman. Served on both fleet boats and nuclear submarines. Vietnam service 1965 through 1966. Past president of the Fleet Reserve Association Branch 20 of Groton. For the past 30 years, he has organized placing American flags on grave sites of veterans at various Groton cemeteries. Community service includes, but is not limited to, officiating, umpiring Groton Little League and Miss America Softball League. Serving on the executive committee of the Groton Submarine Committee. Docent at Groton Submarine Force Library and Nautilus Museum. Organized local U.S. Sailor of the Quarter and U.S. Coast Guard Person of the Quarter programs. 2, Matthew Morton of 67 Mariners Lane in Groton, represent the United States Marines, served from 1967 to 1970, achieved rank of Sergeant E5 as a Special Radio Operator Communications Specialist, stationed at various locations throughout the United States. He is a retired captain of the town of Groton Police Department and served from 1970 to 2002. Community services include, but not limited to, served several terms on the representative town meeting, member of the former Groton Historical Society, board member of the Colonel Ledyard Cemetery, member of previous Groton Veterans Ad Hoc Committee, author of a book detailing the history of the Groton Town Police Department. 3, Michael Grenier, 496 Norlake Road, Mystic, United States Coast Guard, retired, served from 1976 through 2002, achieved the rank of captain. He was a commanding officer, Point Judith Station and the U.S. Coast Guard Station, New Bedford. He was an instructor of writing and literature at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. Retired superintendent of schools, town of Groton, served from 2014 to 2020. Community services include but not limited to volunteering with the More Than Words program, volunteering with the Connecticut Maritime Heritage Festival. 4, Miles Hollowell, 7 Beckwith Place, Groton, representing the United States Air Force, retired, served from 1953 to 1975, achieved the rank of Master Sergeant E7 as a radio research operator, served during the Korean War, stationed at Thailand in support of Vietnam War, lifelong resident of Groton. Community service include but not limited to, beginning in the mid-1970s, he's volunteered for over 2 decades as announcer and statistician for the Yukon Avery Point baseball team. Inducted into the Avery Point Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. Former Fitch High School JV baseball coach for over 23 years. A major organizer for the 1990 State of Connecticut Annual Special Olympics Softball Tournament. Member of the Fitch High School Sports Hall of Fame Committee since 2013. Number 5, James Streeter, 64 Pleasant Street, Groton, representing the United States Army, served from 1963 through 1967. Achieved the rank of Staff Sergeant E6, Crypto Analyst Specialist. Served at various locations throughout the Far East, Vietnam Service 1966. Lifelong resident of Groton. Community service include but not limited to, served for over 40 years in various Groton elected positions, City Groton, Councilor and Deputy Mayor, Town of Groton Councilor and Mayor, and represented the town meeting. Have served as the Groton Town Historian since 2010. Author of 6 books relating to Groton history, including one titled A Directory of Groton War and Veteran Memorials. Member of and chairman of the Groton Former Veterans Ad Hoc Committee, and presently serve on the executive committee of the USS Groton Sailors Foundation. That's all I have.
Well, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Streeter?
Just a question for you or Mr. Streeter. Did we not receive an application from Mr. Barnum?
These are appointed by the mayor.
Okay.
I have not, I don't recall receiving anything from Mr. Barnum.
I believe that was the previous mayor, because he did reach out. I spoke with him, he was very interested. He was also, and Charles Barnum is named after his family, so
I have not received any information regarding that, I'm sorry.
if Mr. Manager could check into that.
Yes, they will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Streeter.
You're welcome.
And with that, I was going to appoint the members of the committee tonight. Mr. George Hanlon, Matthew Morton, Mike Grenier, Miles Hollowell, and James Streeter as the chair of the committee. And I thank you for helping to find some people that would like to get this committee started and up and running. And I appreciate all that you do in the services, in your service to our community and to our country. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to other business. Open agenda items review.
Wait a minute, you made a motion? Or you just appointing them?
I just appointed them. No comments?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, moving forward, 8-0 to 0. We are adjourned.